Hello there viewers, McBadass here with another tournament run video. This time I'm going over my first run through the Kingdom Cup, which was back in April. And if you know anything about the Kingdom Cup, you take one look at my team and you'll quickly realize that I was not running Lucario or Bastiodon, largely due to the fact that I did not have either one of those Pokemon for this run through the tournament, which was bad news, I'll tell you right now. Yeah, if the Tempest Cup was kind of my debut into the competitive scene with a handful of beginner's luck, I feel like the Kingdom Cup was kind of my reality check. I don't know. I made a lot of mistakes in this cup, and I learned a lot of things that helped me in the cups to follow. As you will see here momentarily. Starting things off, round one I got paired up against Poke AK, and yeah, I mean, as to be expected, he was running pretty top line meta, but he pretty much immediately recognized the fact that my team was lacking any form of viable counters to Lapras, and so, you know, immediately straight out of the gate, that was very problematic for me, as you can see here. Like, yes, he's burning through shields, but also burning through my team. So, like, yeah, it's just, it wasn't great. It was not a good time for me. Yeah, trying to do what I can with Charizard there, but the Lapras somehow survives to fire off another Surf. Like, oh man, 2 for 1 there. And yeah, now he's out of shields, but I'm out of Pokemon, so yeah. Moving right on into round 2, I figured he was probably going to do the exact same thing, seeing as it worked out so well for him last time, so I put my only real answer to Lapras in front, and given the fact that it's Water Gun Lapras, it was still not that much of a problem for him, just because Water Gun does a crap load of damage, and Blaziken's not that tanky. So, still takes out a whole Pokemon and a shield, and, you know, now he has... Well, I don't know. I almost made a comeback in this game, which is what's so irritating, because, like, I don't know, you'll see. Kind of just going to town on the that Marowak there. He hot swaps into Lucario, which is irritating because if I would have just gone for Earthquake instead of Dragon Claw, I feel like could have baited the shield sooner, or I don't know. Anyway, here I have enough energy for the Sky Attack, but for some reason just kept using Dragon Breath because I guess I forgot how much health his last Pokemon was. Maybe I had just kind of admitted defeat in my own mind. I don't know. I don't know. It was a rough, harrowing experience. And moving on into the second match up against Fillin' Kids, same exact thing happened where he noticed, like, oh, hey, he doesn't have any good counters for Lapras, so guess I'll just use Lapras. And even then, like, I feel like I did a little bit... I don't know. This whole tournament was just a farce. But here we go in with Blaziken again, obviously having to block the Surf because that'll just wipe out Blaziken in one shot, pretty much. Burning the shields, punching down the Lapras as best he can. Still doesn't take it out all the way. It's just super frustrating. At least this one didn't manage to get another Surf off before it died. But then we're going in here with my Bastiodon counter, which tried to go for the shield bait there, and he didn't go for it. Still managed to win the Bastiodon fight, but then there's Lucario, and Lucario is a problem because I don't have shields. And I thought I'd be able to get to Shadow Ball before Lucario, but I guess he had some energy left over because he still manages to get the Shadow Ball. And again, I don't have any shields, so kind of SOL. Here we go. Knew he was going to throw out Lapras first thing, so might as well start off with the sacrificial Blaziken. That poor bird. Blaziken dealt with a lot of water boys this tournament. And this was also, of course, before it had its access to the Community Day move, Blast Burn, or Blaze Kick. So, you know, pretty much just running super high energy moves on Blaziken, which does not help me in this situation. And then, yeah, even just taking one of those smackdowns is so devastating for Charizard, especially with mine just not being able to take hits really at all. But yeah, get the last shield, and then Charizard can handle the remaining HP on Lucario, cannot handle Bastiodon. So that, yeah, knocking me out of the running for this tournament. So moving on into match number 3. I think this was the first time I ever squared off against Nixie, but I've seen her around at raids and whatnot. Here we have that Celio versus Frostlass match that I was so hyped about last tournament, only this time I don't think she had Body Slam, which worked out better for her at the end of things. You know, almost took out my my Frostlass. Didn't manage to get the Shadow Ball off against Lucario again. Not blocking that first power-up punch because, you know, it's not going to do that much damage. Just going for the shield bait. And, getting punched out. Fun stuff. But then Blaziken comes in here, finally able to actually do something other than fight a Lapras. And what do we have for the third Pokemon? Oh, it's the Dugtrio. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, Blaziken getting to do something other than just getting squirted by a water gun. You know, getting them paunches in. But yeah, also didn't have access to a Lapras for this tournament. That would have definitely been helpful. It was just a lot of like either legacy Pokemon or just Pokemon that are really hard to get your hands on or really expensive Pokemon. Like, that was the meta for this cup, and I was horrendously unprepared in that regard. It's nice to see Frostlass being able to do something in this tournament, because most of the key matchups that I was banking on didn't really play out the way I wanted them to. And that happened a couple times in this tournament where, like, had a Shadow Ball ready to go, and then Frostlass faints. It's just unfortunate. Now here we go with Blaziken against Lapras again, only this time Lapras doesn't have shields, and finally gets some vengeance, getting to Focus Blast that Lapras. And so here we are moving into round 4 against Kilbish. Almost forgot to turn my recording back on, so that's why there's not much of an intro sequence there, just kind of jumping right into things. Probably didn't need to block that overheat, as Flygon double resists fire damage. But here's Flygon kind of doing its thing. It gets those Dragon Claws off so quickly. Was definitely fun to play around with, if a little bit squishy. And then here you have Frostlass versus Altaria, which we've seen. Well, I've seen in the Tempest Cup previously. Didn't manage to get the charge move off. That Altaria is just firing things off way too fast, which is surprising. She must have had some energy stocked up. But yeah, losing to the Lucario there. Here we have Flygon versus Alolan Marowak, which is pretty good, solid matchup for Flygon, assuming I can shield bait properly, which I do believe I got a shield that first time. Able to tank the Shadow Ball and go for that Earthquake, which should, yeah, takes it out. All right. Didn't manage to get the Dragon Claw off, but that's okay. Got to use my shiny Aggron for the only time in this cup, which is kind of funny because, like, Aggron, I kind of thought maybe it could be like, oh, it's the poor man's Bastiodon because it has the same typing, but there's really no actual comparison, just because its moves don't, its quick moves specifically are not up to par. However, in that recent update that they just did, they did add SmackDown to Aggron. So I'm really interested to see if that makes it more of a viable pick in the future. I feel like it's still pretty squishy and definitely loses really hard to fighting and ground, but I don't know, something to consider. Aggron's definitely a Pokemon that I've liked ever since it was released, so it'd be cool to see it have some viable tournament play, but that remains to be seen. In the meantime, here we are back up against the Lapras, just continuously plaguing me all the way through this tournament. But, you know, figured it was probably another Surf. Altaria can take that water damage without having to really worry about much. Going up against Lucario there. Could have been a Shadow Ball, but ended up being Power Up Punch, which is fine. They are out of shields, so we're able to burn this other Altaria with Dragon Pulse, which is solid. And it's back to Lucario, who takes out the Altaria, but we have a Dragon Claw ready to go, along with a shield. So, taking out that Lucario for the final round. So yeah, there goes the final score. I was mostly just proud of the fact that I didn't have a negative win-lose ratio. After those first couple rounds, like, I kind of figured it was gonna be pretty negative from that point onward, but fortunately managed to scrape out a couple wins, despite the fact that my team was poorly prepared for this particular cup. I felt like the Kingdom Cup was very dependent upon shielding, and I didn't know a lot of my matchups super well. Yeah, kind of had a bad time in the Kingdom Cup for the most part. I will be posting my second Kingdom Cup run here pretty soon, with some alterations that I felt were much needed, as well as Lucario, obviously, kind of a must. Like, you could get by without Bastiodon, but Lucario is just way too good in that tournament. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hope you stick around for more tournament coverage. Let me know in the comments how you felt about the Kingdom Cup, or how you felt about my tournament run, or my wonky ass just team comp. I don't know. It was a weird time. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you guys will like and subscribe or comment or whatever you do. Big shout out to Sangria for being my Patreon supporter. Appreciate the crap out of you. And yeah, see y'all next time.